Good day. I'm Jessica Lee Potgieter, student number 193343. This is my SSH402 assignment SS1 part B, my family tree. I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. Right, so we're going to be focusing specifically on the Sonicus family, starting with my grandparents, my parents, myself. My grandparents were born in the 1930s. My grandfather was Peter Steven Sonicus, and he was born on the 23rd of September, 1934. My grandmother was Magraiki Sonicus, and she was born on the 6th of October, 1933. My grandfather was born in the Northwest, and he moved to the city to work. My grandmother was born in Tapazimbi and tragically lost her parents. She also moved to the city to work and live with her family. My grandparents met one another in 1955 and they were married a few years later. My grandparents had two children, my father, Peter Steven Sonicus, and his sister, Sunette Sonicus. Peter Steven Sonicus met Jennifer Lee Sonicus, my mother. Both of them were living in the Mayfair area, and they were married in 1983. They had three children, myself, Jessica Lee Potgieter, as well as my siblings, Jadine Sonicus and Wesley Sonicus. When I spoke to my grandparents, they said that youth for them was not as easy as it is today. They didn't have access to running water and electricity. They needed to use fire stoves and candles and go and collect water for their households. But moving to the city made things a lot easier. There was some amenities that occurred here. My parents specifically received the fruits. They used to travel around on bicycles, had pay phones, not a cell phone, but it is telephonic communication. They were able to have electricity, so they had lights on. Most of their stoves were gas, but later on electrical appliances did come in. Both my grandparents and my parents lived in the apartheid era. My grandparents were very segregated, barely knew anything about anybody of a different culture or race. My parents also segregated, but when we were born, and they were in their mid-40s, they started to mix within racial groups. I wouldn't say that apartheid affected them in terms of when it ended, other than having exposure to one another and mixed races. My parents were, well, my grandparents were both very impoverished. My grandmother lost her husband at a young age, and she was a housewife, so she needed to go and work at Tills as a single mother of two. So they did not benefit greatly from anything really. So the most effect they had from apartheid ending was to actually have to mix with different races. My parents, socially, maybe there was a change and they started coming into the workplace. For me as a child, I had mixed races in my school, so it didn't really affect me in any way. None of my grandparents nor my parents attended university. Neither did I up until recently. I don't think that apartheid would have affected the trajectory of my life. My parents were not from around here. Well, not my grandparents were from around here, so they didn't benefit in any way. Thank you for listening to my story. Hmm. Good.